Hi guys, my name is Sybil and I recently just finished my study abroad semester in London, and during my time there I studied at UCL, which is University College London. And before I actually went to London, I searched up a ton of videos about life in London, vlogs and all that, because I really wanted to be mentally prepared for life in a new city. But once I actually got there, I realized that there were so many details that were missing from these videos, so I kind of wanted to create a comprehensive London survival guide for you guys so that when you guys get to London, you can hit the ground running. Today's video is going to be jam-packed with information, so grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, pen and a notepad, because there is a lot of ground to uncover today. So this video is going to be divided into two main sections. The first section is the London basics, and these are basically like the most fundamental, important things you need to know about studying abroad in London. So the second section of today's video will be the insider tips, which is basically just the lessons I've learned studying abroad in London and things that I feel like would be beneficial to know before you actually arrive at the city. So starting off with level 1, London basics. So London is obviously a big, bustling city, and that means that there are all types of people that kind of populate the city. This includes weird people, freaky people, people with very bad intentions. So if you're thinking about studying abroad in London, I think it's very crucial to be equipped with street smarts that can help you navigate the city. I've heard so many horror stories about people having their phones stolen, their wallets stolen, and it's just absolutely insane. But luckily, in the 6 months that I lived in London, I kept all of my things safe. I did not have anything stolen from me. And I think it's because that I grew up in New York City. So I really think that I do have the street smarts I need to get around a big city like London. So today I'm here to pass on those tips to you guys and hopefully help you guys keep all of your things safe during your time there. So tip number 1 is to keep your phone safe. And I have a very specific way I do this. So I'm gonna take my old iPhone 6, for example. When I'm walking on the streets in London, I put my phone into my sleeve like this. And so I'm kind of holding my phone like this as I walk about, because a lot of thieves in London kind of target iPhones specifically because they want to take the iPhones and resell it for a higher price. And so a ton of people lose their phones when they're traveling to London. You don't have to store your phone the way I do, but I just find like this is a very safe way to keep it, because when you're walking on the street and it's in your sleeve, literally no one can see that your phone is there. And if you're unfamiliar with the city, you know, it's your first time there, you're probably going to be using Google Maps a ton. So when you have it like this, you can just slide it out, just casually check Google Maps and then slide it like right back in. Like no fuss, just do not hold it like in your hands like this, because it's so easily like taken away if you do that. So tip number 1. Tip number 2, very basic, do not wear designer goods in London. It just makes you the most obvious target. So if a thief or someone with bad intentions sees that you're wearing like your Dior or your Chanel bag, they're gonna know that you have the means to buy that bag, which means that you probably have some extra money laying around. So it's really easy for you to get targeted if you do that. It's smarter to like stay away from wearing designer goods out and about, especially when you're traveling on your own, and even more especially if you're traveling alone as a woman. So definitely be aware of that. This leads me to my next tip, which is when you buy luxury or designer items, bring your own bag. So I have this friend who once went to Selfridges, which is this high-end department store in London, and when you purchase something from Selfridges, they give you this really pretty iconic neon yellow shopping bag. So she bought a stuffed animal in the Selfridges department store and walked out with this humongous yellow bag, and when we were on the street, everyone was just giving her the eyes. It's very easy for you to once again become a target of theft when you're holding something like that, so I think it's better to keep it low-key in a city like London. My next tip is when you walk around on the street, definitely be wary of the type of bag you're choosing to carry. If you're gonna go out and about on your own, I think it's important that you don't wear something like a mini backpack, because it's very easy for someone to get in there and you would have no idea that you're getting stolen from. So definitely be careful with things like open bags, backpacks, things that people can easily get into. The last tip is quite basic, but always important, which is do not make eye contact with anyone in the city. Do not go around like looking into people's eyes, because it could get you in a lot of trouble. There was this once after school, I was waiting for the bus at the bus station. This man and I just like locked eyes for a second, and he started shouting at me. Like, thankfully my bus got there like right that second, so I literally like ran onto the bus. But honestly, it's like a freaky experience. Just try not to, you know, have any eye contact with anyone on the street, because you never know who you're looking at. So along the same lines, when you see something sketchy on a tube or on the bus, just get off. Like, get off and get on the next one. Even if that means you have to wait another 10 minutes, you really don't want to risk it, because you really never know what could happen. So get off whenever you see someone sketchy. So the last thing I want to mention about the safety section is some of the common scams you come across in London. And there are quite a few of these, but there are two I feel like are seen the most. So the first one is the rose scam. So if you ever see a woman offer you a rose on the street, do not take it, because she's going to tell you it's for free, it's for free. But then the second you take it from her, she's going to be running after you asking for money. Don't be a victim of that scam, because it's everywhere in London. I think I see it the most often like around Oxford Circus and Piccadilly Circus, so the very busy places. Just don't take the roses, even if they're pretty and even if the woman seems like a nice lady. The second most common scam, and one that multiple of my friends have fell for, is when you're dining outdoors. Like when you're living that European cafe dream, you know, drinking coffee outdoors, don't put your phone on the table, because there will be people who come up to you with a huge picture. Let's say it's a picture of their missing dog, and then they're gonna put that picture on the table and cover the entire table and tell you that they need your help looking for this dog. And while you're looking over the picture, they're gonna take your phone from under the picture and just run. They're gonna bolt, and there's no way you're gonna catch them, because you're gonna be so caught off guard. So don't do that. When you're dining outdoors, keep your phone somewhere safe, put it in your pocket, put it in your bag, and guard it really well. So those two scams, definitely look out for them, because they are everywhere. Moving on to something a little lighter, we're going to talk about accommodation. So I feel like a lot of students kind of struggle between choosing to live on campus or to rent a place of their own. The decision really just comes down to two factors. The first is the purpose of your study abroad program, and the second is obviously budget constraints. So in my experience and the experience of my friends, I feel like the students who choose to live on campus definitely make friends a bit faster. I mean, when you're sharing a flat with 4 other people, you can see these people every day in the kitchen, in the living area, and you just get that opportunity to socialize a lot more. And living on campus is often cheaper than renting a place of your own. It also saves you the time from looking at a bunch of different rental places, which can be quite stressful for some people. And also, school accommodations are normally fairly close to school. So if you're someone who really wants to be a part of school societies, you're very big on academics, you're going to be taking a lot of classes, or you're just an extrovert and a social butterfly, you want to make a lot of international friends, I think that living on campus is a good option. But definitely there are still pros to renting a place in London as well. So London is a humongous city. And when I say that, I mean that it's double the size of New York City. And I think it's like 15 times the size of Paris, which means that the location your school is in might not be the district of London that you vibe with the most. When you choose to rent a place, you can really dictate which location you want to be in. Let's say if you're not someone who's going to participate in a ton of school activities and you're more about like exploring the city of London on your own, I think it's a great option to like, rent a place in a location that you really, really like. And for me, I guess I didn't rent, but I lived with my parents off campus and they lived somewhere near West London, while my school, UCL, is located near East London. So I had to commute quite a lot, but I think this decision allowed me to see London as a whole, being able to explore West London on weekends and go to East London on weekdays, and it just gave me a more full, complete London experience. So definitely consider that when you're picking your accommodation. But if you do decide to live off campus, definitely make sure wherever you're living, you have multiple transportation options. So the strikes in London, the transportation strikes, they're not to be taken lightly. I would have to like take the bus one day and then check my phone the next morning and realize today I have to take the tube. It's a bit of a mess. So make sure to like double check before you actually commit to a certain place or rental. And with that said, it's the perfect segue to our next topic, which is transportation. Honestly, the rule of thumb is if you put a destination into Google Maps and it tells you that you can walk there within like 30 minutes, let's say, take that walk. Just walk it, because first of all, it's a great way to explore the city, and second of all, it saves you a ton of money. So transportation costs in London are like sky high. They're like insane. So if you can walk, definitely do that. And as a study abroad student, you probably want to, familiarize yourself with London, see all the beautiful architecture and buildings. So walking is the perfect way to do that. Pro tip here, so when you get off the bus in London, within the next hour, you can get on another bus for free. So definitely leverage that when you can, because I think it's a great deal. And for transportation, there are two apps that I think you should definitely download. I'm gonna assume everyone has Google Maps on their phone. If you don't, download it, because you're probably gonna need it every single day while you're in London. So the two apps you should have are TfL Go and City Mapper. So the first one, TfL Go, is Transport for London's app. Transport for London is basically the company that owns the tube, the overground, the buses, basically any type of transportation you're gonna take in the city is owned by them. So their app gives you like very accurate live updates on the transportations. It gives you recommendations about quieter travel times so that you're not, squeezed with everyone during rush hours. And the other app is City Mapper. I'm pretty sure every single Londoner out there has this app. It's basically an app that's great for bus schedules. So sometimes Google Maps doesn't know the newest bus updates or the strikes that are happening, and with City Mapper, they're fairly accurate with it. So if you're ever looking for a bus, like specifically, I think City Mapper is a great app to use. So next we're going to talk about money tips. London is notorious for being a very, 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 very expensive city, and there is no way you can outrun that if you're going to be studying in London. But I do have a few tips for you to try your best and save while you're studying in the city. Tip number one is to eat at home or to eat at school, because eating out in London is ridiculously expensive. So if you want to go to like a decent brunch place with your friends, and let's say you just order a latte and an egg benedict, it's probably going to cost you at least £20. Like, that's how crazy eating out in London is. So when you can, cook at home. For eating at school, normally your school or your uni will give you some meal deals, which are much friendlier to students. So take advantage of that when you can. The next thing I want to talk about, highly important for my coffee lovers out there, is get the Pret subscription service. So if you do not have a coffee machine and you love coffee or drinks in general, I think that the Pret subscription service is so worth the money. Basically, you pay £25 per month, and then you can get 5 drinks every day for free. How ridiculous is that? I don't even know how they're profiting from the subscription service, but definitely use it if you can. And if you have friends, like maybe you could grab a friend or two, do the subscription service with them. Not gonna lie, I think that Pret doesn't have the best coffee, but if you're just there for the caffeine, if you just need like a pick-me-up, definitely worth it. Also, I wanted to mention, like, I know we all love to be spontaneous once in a while, just suddenly come across a nice restaurant, walk into it, you know, have a nice dinner. But I think that impulse spending is a terrible habit to have when you're living in London, because you could be walking into like a restaurant that looks really nice, but actually has really, really bad food, and all of your money would just be going down the drain. I think it's better if you do your research first and spend your money where it actually counts. Like, if there's a really nice restaurant, you've seen like great reviews, you know that it's going to be an amazing experience, then go. But don't impulse spend too much, because you're gonna realize your money's gonna be gone in a second. My last tip for saving money is a shopping tip. So London is literally shopping heaven. You're going to realize, like, once you get there, they literally have everything you want. But I think it's really important to be smart about where and when you spend your money. So while I was in London, I went thrift shopping quite often with my friends. So I went to Shoreditch and Covent Garden the most. I think they all have really nice thrift shops that you can browse from, and they're much cheaper than going to, let's say, Aritzia or Anthropologie for a sweater. If you want to buy from the big brands or like Zara, I think it's a good idea to go during their sales, because they have really nice sales, like the summer sale, Black Friday sale, Christmas sale, and the end of the year sale is, I think, the one where you get the best deals. So definitely look out for that when you're shopping in London. So the last topic we're going to cover in the London Basics section is making friends. Now, I could make a whole other video on this topic, so if you guys want to know how I made new friends in a foreign city, definitely leave me comments down below, and I will film a whole other video dedicated to this topic. But other than that, if you guys have any other topics related to studying abroad in London that you'd like to hear from me to talk about, pop them down below, because I do look through the comment sections for video ideas, so definitely let me know. So the first tip I have for you is to just attend the events that you're genuinely interested in. So unis in London are very, very popular for their Freshers Week at the beginning of the semester, and it's basically a week where there are just a bunch of parties and raves for people to, you know, meet new friends and mingle and such. I know a lot of people feel FOMO at the beginning of the semester, especially when they're going into a new school, so they'll force themselves to attend all of these parties during Freshers Week, even when they don't really want to be there. And I feel like there's no need for you to do that, because when you're looking for friends, you want to be looking for quality friends that actually vibe with you, that have similar interests than you, that you actually like. So go to the places where you feel like these people, the right people, will be. So if you don't like parties and you don't want to party ever again, I don't think going to a freshers event will be where you're gonna find your future best friend, you know? So if you're into, let's say, books, go to a society where it's like a book club. Or if you're into dance, go to dance society and see if you can meet someone new. So don't force yourself to attend everything. Just read up on what your school has to offer and choose from what you like. And I think that is the key way you can make quality friends during your study abroad semester. Adding on a little more about societies, I feel like most of the unis in London have a fairly extensive society pool to choose from. So no matter what you're interested in, there's probably a society that reflects that. So go to these society events, just check it out. I think that it's a very, very effective way to meet friends who are really like on the same wavelength as you. Moving on, we have the insider tips. So this is where I'm gonna share with you guys some of the more extra, like, secret things that I think are important to know if you're studying abroad in London. The first tip I have sounds a bit simple, sounds a bit silly, but I think it's a really important piece of information to know. So it's to save the restaurants, shops, and museums, all the places you want to visit in London before you actually get there. Study abroad programs normally last like 6 months to a year, and that is not a lot of time to explore the city. Save the locations you want to go to beforehand, and when you actually get to London, you can hit the ground running. Like day one, you already know, I want to go to the Notting Hill bookshop, or I want to go to Camden Market. The second tip is specifically for my study abroad students who aren't from Europe. So if this is your first time going to Europe, you're gonna realize that Europe is so well connected and it's so easy for you to travel to other countries from London. Now, if you book flights or train tickets early enough, they're going to be so incredibly cheap, it's going to blow your mind. So for example, during my study abroad program, I traveled to Paris, and I actually got the train tickets from London to Paris for £39. That is incredibly cheap, and it was such a steal because I ordered the tickets I think 2 or 3 months in advance. So definitely plan your trips so that you can save a lot of money and go to a ton of different countries. During my study abroad program, I actually went to 9 different countries, like other than the UK, which is still mind-blowing for me to say like now, but definitely take advantage of how well connected Europe is. Also, there are like so many airports in London. There's Gatwick Airport, Heathrow Airport, Luton Airport. I think there are like 2 more I'm forgetting. My point is, when you're like ordering your plane tickets, make sure that the airport you're departing from is fairly close to your house, or else you're gonna have a very, very long commute. Moving on to the next tip, which is the best ways to remember your time in London. So I have this trick I've been using since I was a high school student, I believe. So according to neuroscience, scent and memories are very, very closely intertwined. And basically what that means is when you smell a certain scent, your brain can link it to a certain memory or a moment that you've had in your life. And what you can do is when you go to London, pick out a perfume like on your first week or second week there. Make sure to spray it every day when you're walking around in London, because after 6 months or a year, when you go home and you smell that perfume again, you will automatically just think of those moments that you've had in London that year. I feel like photos and videos sometimes can't capture the complete essence of a certain moment, and for me, perfume does just that. It can really remind me of the entire atmosphere of a certain moment in my life. So if you're someone like me, bring a perfume with you or get one when you get there, because it will definitely be worth it when you're looking back in 10, 20 years back at your life. Finally, we're here at the last tip of today's video, and it's not very much a tip, it's more of a list of places I highly, highly recommend you guys visit. So in other words, it's my favorite places in London after my 6-month study abroad program. So the first one I have here is Belgravia. Belgravia is a district in London I feel like does not get enough exposure. People don't talk about it as much because it's not really somewhere you shop, but more of where the rich people live. Go to Belgravia, walk around the neighborhood, you're gonna see so many amazing buildings, and I feel like they have really, really nice hidden cafes there. So I have 2 that I want to recommend. The first one is Cafe Kitsune if you're someone who likes matcha lattes, and if you like regular lattes, Tom Tom's Coffee House is the place to go. It has all of the vibes that you would want in a European coffee house. The second one I have is St. James Park. St. James Park is very, very close to Buckingham Palace. It's right next to it actually, so it could be a one-day trip, but St. James Park is a very quirky little park because it's full of birds, like all types of birds, and the birds there are very, very cute. It's a very different park from the other ones in London, that's why I recommend it, and there's a cafe in the middle of that park that I feel like would be really nice to chill at, and it's very cheap, so don't worry. The last place I want to recommend is West London in general. West London just does not get enough rep. This includes Chelsea, Notting Hill, and Kensington. If you're a big fan of classic buildings, afternoon strolls, and that like old money aura, I think that West London emulates it perfectly, and it's something that East London just cannot replicate. So definitely check out these 3 places. I think they're very, very underrated. So that is the end of today's video, and please do give it a thumbs up if you guys found it helpful so that I know to make more videos similar to this one, and subscribe to see more of that London and study abroad content. Also, the most important part is that if you guys have any questions relating to study abroad, UCL, or London in general, comment them down below so that I can get back to you guys, or I can make an entire new video on the topics that you guys want me to talk about. And with that said, I guess that's it for today's video, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.